Welcome in, everybody, to race number 1 of the MMS Money Racing Little Dog, Big Dog series. Joining me in the booth tonight is Josh Giambrone, who is doing the usual job that Matthew Baker does on Mondays. He joins us in the booth and does race control at this time. So, Josh, what are you expecting early on in this?
Well, hopefully we see some clean racing we got 75 laps. Hopefully it's 75 laps of four wide racing. That would be beautiful.
Well, that's definitely what we want to see, and this series does bring out a lot of good racing in it. We've seen it in the past before. We're going to go ahead and roll through the grid right here before we begin anything else. Vicente Guerrero for Nightmare Esports starts in P1, Logan York P2, John Ward will start in third tonight, Nathan Harper to his outside in fourth, Sean Corbett will be fifth, J.R. Miller in sixth, Matt Lee seventh, Chris Melton for R&R in eighth, Chase Mastretta in ninth, David Sheets in 10th. 11th tonight will be Steve Sizemore. Jeremy Osborne will start in the 12th position. 13th place tonight will be Mike Davenport, Hunter Hastings in 14th, Dalton Steele 15th, Brian Henning 16th, Mark Vondell 17th, Scott McLean P18 tonight, James Wagner 19th, James Waring in 20th, Michael Wingo starts in 21st, Daniel Falkingham 22nd, Kyler Wynn 23rd, Ron Hunter 24th, 25th will be Joshua McCullough, Heath Job in 26th. Josh Giambrone is not racing, he is the RC tonight. Christopher McCullough, will be 28th, Kenny McCullough 29th, Danny Barnes 30th, Joey Galati 31st, and Jimmy Emos rounds out the field tonight in the 32nd starting position. But the weird thing about this series here tonight is that you don't run with your normal teammates. The people you run with is selected to you randomly. Last season it was teams of 3. This season is a little bit different. There's only teams of 2. One big dog paired with one little dog. Now, who came up with that, I would assume, would be Kenny McCullough, who gets the distinction of a big dog and a little dog, this, that, and the other. We're not 100% sure about that, but it was a random draw to see who the big dogs and little dog teams would be. And going through them, we will have to keep you updated, most likely next week. We get it on the broadcast for everybody to fully distinct them on the leaderboards and during the race to see who they are actually teamed with. I know some examples would be Logan York and Scott McLean. Who else is there? Nathan Harper, Jeremy Osborne, Chase Mastretta, Christopher Melton. It's kind of all over the place, and this was done very recently, so our apologies for that. But yeah, we got a 75 lapper here tonight. It's going to be a little bit of a longer race, and in the Xfinity car too, which is a very interesting car, as everyone who watches PGR racing knows. It can be a little tough sometimes. It's a little hard to push. It can be hard to push. It can be hard to handle a push, to give one, line it up correctly. You kind of have to be very specific on where you are hitting someone to be able to move forward efficiently in this car, and it causes a lot of accidents when it's not done correctly. And this is 75 laps. I don't think we're going to have a very wreck-filled race. I think it's going to be relatively clean, especially at the beginning of the race, and I surely hope so. This is a little bit of a long one and a late start for everyone, us in the booth, drivers on track, and everyone watching on a Sunday night. But we're about to go green flag racing here. We've already mentioned the grid. Vicente Guerrero P1, Logan York P2, John Ward and Nathan Harper will be the lead pushers in this one. Now, Logan York and Nathan Harper are already teammates. They run on the Probably Banned group. I'm sure everyone knows the PBG banner. They are teammates as is, but they are not working together in this one. All the teams are required to be in the Discord call together. Now, sure, there's obviously ways to communicate, and I'm sure that's being done by the actual teams in here, but it is a cool concept, and we'll see how it plays out in this one. Here they are coming into the restart box. The green flag will determine the start of the race. Vicente Guerrero and Logan York on the front row. The green flag is out, and we are racing at Talladega. Coming to the end of lap 1 here, and just 2x2 throughout the entire field right now. They're being calm as can be right now. Look, Nathan Harper doing his best to get his teammate, real teammate Logan York down to the bottom. He will clear him going into 1 in front of Vicente Guerrero. The outside's not very organized right now. It's only Harper and J.R. Miller in the 78. Christopher Melton laying way off of the 78's bumper. They need to get that organized real quick. Vicente Guerrero wants no part of pushing Logan York, as down the backstretch he's going to hop up in front of Nathan Harper and try and take the lead away from Logan York. Coming into 3, it's still a little disorganized right now on that top line. It's kind of a unique thing to see. A run can kind of struggle to develop here and there in the Xfinity car, but you usually see it group up, especially on the start of a race, a lot quicker than this. But it looks like Melton is starting to get to the back end of J.R. Miller, as is David Sheets and Steve Sizemore behind him. But photo finish for the leader of that lap right there between Harper and Guerrero. I really am wondering when we're going to start seeing the 3-wide racing and the 4-wide racing, as Josh Giambrone alluded to early on. You know what's going to happen, and there it is. Who else but Kyler Wynn in the 82 on the top side, making it 3-wide with a push from, let's see who that is real quick, actually. It looks like it's going to be Josh McCullough, another guy. No surprise, he came up in the 3rd lane early. Scott McLean was a part of it as well in the 58. Jimmy Emos was giving it a look. There's Ron Hunter in the 30, also trying to make it 3-wide. You see what Wynn and McCullough can do on that top side. That's a pretty good combo of very aggressive guys that always want to move forward, always are pushing that 3rd lane, very aggressive pushers. No matter if they should be pushing in this situation or not, they're going to push you. Vicente Guerrero a little loose, maybe a little contact with Logan York down on the bottom in the lead. But Kyler Wynn and Josh McCullough are flying on that top lane. Look at them go. They've made it all the way up to the 3rd row. They're going to have a look, probably at challenging for the lead coming out of 2. Nathan Harper will see if he wants to stay where he is. He just looks like he's going to be content riding where he is. Pushing Vicente Guerrero. Vince is going to hop down in the number 14. That'll open up the airways for Nathan Harper. And that's going to help out that 3rd lane even more. That's less cars that they have to try and get by. But it looks like that run's starting to die out a little bit. Josh might be getting a little warm. They did come from the very back of the field. So you know Josh's temps are going to be extremely hot right now. But here they come. They've got some help behind them. Dalton Steele, Jeremy Osborne, Scott McQueen. They've all hopped up there too to try and join the fight on the 3rd lane. Kyler Wynn's got to look at taking the lead here going into 1. Josh still getting a little warm though, but he knows those 2 lines under him are getting hot too. But Vicente Guerrero is clear, and he's going to hop up, and that's going to help the temps of the bottom 2 lanes and probably hurt Kyler Wynn and Josh McCullough's chances on the 3rd. They're still hanging tough though. Kyler throwing that side draft on the rear quarter panel of Vicente Guerrero. Now Logan York's going to hop up in front of Vicente. That's interesting. 2 very quick clears up to the top. That's not something we normally see. The push might not have been there from Nathan Harper to the back of Vicente Guerrero. And that allowed Harper's teammate Logan York to go up. Josh McCullough getting way up against the wall. And Vince doesn't want to sit behind Logan York anymore. He wants to race him. He's going to hop in front of John Blort, who's made his way as the lead pusher on the bottom. And that 3rd line, here's the 3x3 racing that we've all wanted to see. There's a few cars out back, the usual suspects that like to sit back and ride for a little bit, like Kenny McCullough. Looks like Christopher McCullough is back as well. Someone that we haven't seen in a while. He took a little bit of a break from Money Racing. Here's Kenny and there's Chris. Joey Galati rounding out the field right now. But I think one of the biggest threats, and tell me if I'm wrong, Josh, would be Daniel Falkingham. He is the Coke Series driver that has since joined Money Racing, joined the team of Nightmare Esports, and he is lethal ever since he got into this. He won the PGR championship. He wins races left and right when it comes to Money Racing, but right now he just kind of sitting where he is. He's in that number 39 car down there at the bottom. Just kind of sitting on the bottom line, biding his time. He is teammates with Mark Vondell in this series, so we'll see what they can cook up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you ask me, you have him and Kyler up front, and it's going to be a rough show either way. But Mark Vondell and Daniel Falkingham together, Mr. Vondell always finishes pretty high up in the front, but them 2 together, it's going to be an interesting race either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark Vondell himself, he's had a bad string of luck recently. It seems like he just keeps getting wrecked here and there. Nathan Harper, since we were talking about Daniel Falkingham, decided to hop up in front of Kyler Wynn. This third line is very developed right now and more organized. As I say that, they start wiggling around. And it looks like Nathan Harper has a little bit of damage on the right rear quarter panel of his car. Undoubtedly a little bit of netcode. I know Nathan has been struggling with that. You can see it right there to the right of the Cowboys logo, just on that Mustang taillight. Little contact between him and Miller right there, but they're all good. Early on, damage for Nathan Harper, but it's a long race. We will undoubtedly have a yellow flag come out at some point in this one, so we can get that damage fixed. There is a fast repair as well in this race. There's one fast repair, 3 attempts in overtime per usual. It's a 50% fully loaded fuel tank. So that's going to help these guys a lot, and I'm sure that one fast repair that everyone has is definitely making it interesting that we see this very aggressive racing early on. Josh McCullough, I can't tell if he wants to get his temperatures or if he wants to keep trying to take it 4 wide in that number 1 car behind Kyler Wynn. He just keeps peeking it up there, but he should expect that Kyler would probably block that because he doesn't want to have any part of Nathan Harper in front of him, especially as a damaged car. And that third line is now starting to die off. You saw Scott McLean in the 58 in the back. Ron Hunter has now hopped back up, but they hop down back to the middle, losing those cars that they need to give them the momentum and the energy on that top line to push them forward. Logan York gets pushed clear by J.R. Miller. He's going to drop in front of Vicente Guerrero. J.R. Miller now leads the middle line with Christopher Melton in tow, and David Sheets from McCullough Motorsports in third in that middle lane. Nathan Harper still doing everything he can to lay a side draft down on Chris Melton's bumper and get that push from Kyler Wynn. It's just not happening for them right now. They need someone else to hop up there and refresh the temperatures, keep them going, keep their fight going on that third line. And honestly, I don't think anyone would be surprised to see Kyler Wynn and Josh McCullough split Nathan Harper out. Considering his damage and the fact maybe they just don't trust him. Maybe Kyler doesn't trust the push that he's giving him. Maybe there's netcode problems. Both of them are historically known for blinking in about every race. I mean, we saw Nathan Harper in the 22. We saw him blink on the pace lap. So that could have been a contribution to his damage right there, the netcode and everything. Chris Melton wants a part of it. He's going to hop up in front of Nathan Harper. That's exactly what they needed. Now, can Harper give Melton the push that they need to move forward? He has the temperatures that, all things considered, that damage isn't terrible. It's not like it's going to affect him leading a line. It's on the back, but it's going to slow you down a little bit. It's going to hurt you to take pushes. But now he's the lead pusher with Chris Melton. Look at Melton. They've got a good run up there, but it's just probably not going to last coming out of turn 2, Josh.
No, I mean, they're smoking hot. You can tell Joshua McCullough, he was trying to get air, or he's trying to go forward with Kyler. Either one, but they're burning up there. We'll see.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Josh just keeps peeking it out there. You see it all on the backstretch right there, peeking it out on Kyler Wynn. Now, I'm not in Josh McCullough's head. I wish I knew what he was thinking, and it sure would be a show for everyone watching, seeing him split the lanes 4 wide, and we get a 4th line develop like we had last night. There he goes again. There it is. Kyler Wynn, Josh McCullough, 4 wide racing. We were calling it. Josh called it early on in the pace lap. Hopefully we would see it. Well, here it is. Kyler Wynn and Josh McCullough take it to the 4th. That is not something we usually say during money races, but here they are up there doing everything they can, but it's not really there right now. Melton's washing up too, kind of splitting the 3rd and the 4th lane. And now he's come down kind of dooring Logan York. Logan might have a shot. He's not going to have a shot at getting clear here, so that's going to hurt the 4th. But they got him clear. Josh pushed Kyler Wynn clear, all the way clear on that 4th line. What an impressive job by Josh McCullough. Only the 2 of them on the 4th lane, the absolute longest way around the racetrack. But at the end of the day, Josh is the one that gets hurt from that because he just pushed Kyler all the way to the lead, and he sees no benefit from it because he drops all the way back behind Jeremy Osborne, who was prior behind him in that. But what we saw right here was that the weather in this race is obviously conducive to a 4th lane working out with only 2 cars being up there. Let's go ahead and pull the weather up so everyone can see it. We'll check the track temp and everything. So the track temp's pretty cool. It's 89 degrees. Usually a hotter track temp means more 3 wide racing and possibly 4 wide racing, but right now it's cool. And there's not much wind. It's like 1 mile an hour. An overcast day, a very cool racetrack. That's very interesting to see. But they made it work somehow. Maybe it's just what a good combo they are, Kyler Wynn and Joshua McCullough. And as far as I know, Kyler Wynn is not actually in the series. I believe he is just out here racing as anyone can. Oh, my apologies. I just looked in the Discord. Kyler Wynn is teammates with Ron Hunter in this one. Let's actually go ahead and go through these names. While this racing is somewhat calming down a little bit, let's go through them. Logan York, Scott McLean, they are a team. Joshua McCullough and Steve Sizemore. Jeremy Osborne, Nathan Harper. Daniel Falkingham, Mark Vondell, as we mentioned. Brian Hennington, Hunter Hastings. Ron Hunter and Kyler Wynn. James Waring, Vicente Guerrero, David Sheets, Sean Corbett. Kenny McCullough and Rick Schneider is his teammate, but Schneider is not in this event as we see, so Kenny's the Lone Ranger for that team. Joey Galati and Matthew T. Lee. John Ward and Mike Davenport, that's a very good combination right there. Christopher McCullough and Michael Wingo, and J.R. Miller and Garrett Maines. But as we see, Garrett Maines isn't on the track either tonight, and he would definitely be a threat at the front of this one, along with the names of Falkingham and Wynn. There's also another team right here, Freddie Baznez and James W., which I think was James Waring. There might have been some issue going on right there with the teams. A little bit of contact in the back. Jeremy Osborne slapping the wall, and Ron Hunter followed him into it. But yeah, we don't see Freddie Baznez out here on the racetrack either. So those are all the teams here, and like I said, for next week we will have it actually labeled out on the leaderboard so you can keep up with who the teams are. We'll do something like a team A, B, C, something or the other, so that y'all can more easily remember who the teams are. But this third lane will not die. Christopher Melton and Nathan Harper are still there, and Nathan's been behind him for laps upon laps. He's got to be getting toasted. And he is right now. You saw that. I mean, they're kind of not holding the line. Something's getting all out of shape in the tri-oval. But now they're still up here contending for the lead. So even with kind of how disorganized they are right now, they're still making it work somehow. That's very impressive, and that goes to show what the weather is doing for these guys. I mean, it has to be the weather. Unless there was some update that I was not told about to these cars. You can push with them longer and everything, which I doubt that. Because you see Nathan still peeking out, still trying to push Melton right here. Oh, Ron Hunter very loose in the back in the 30. He almost tags the wall. And I'll tell you what, Josh Giambrone in the booth, he's had a pretty easy go of it so far for race control. A lot easier than Matthew Baker does on Mondays. We've had a very clean one so far. We're on lap 17. And we've had some floor-wide racing, and it's still been green flag. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I mean, it's a cakewalk right now. It's very nice. It's just like the other night. We about went 15 laps 4 wide the other night in these cars, and I mean, the racing seems like this week alone has been great. I mean, yeah, they're racing hard and they're racing clean. Net code's staying pretty low, other than around Nathan Harper, but he is also known for having net code problems. But I mean, he still has his rear bumper, so it's still looking pretty good until they're coming to pit stops, though. I mean, you can see they're all single files all the way back, except for a couple rows. So it's coming soon, and we'll see if they can make it in clean and come out clean too.
Yeah, Josh is right, especially it's single filed out very, very quick. Like, look at this. The third is now dead. Chris Melton hopped up to the fourth, I guess, to just let Nathan Harper by. And now we're back to 2x2 just like that, with a long single file line of cars out back. Look at Daniel Falkingham in the middle. I just saw his 3090. He's making some moves back up here. This worked to his advantage. He has damage as well on his right rear quarter panel right there. So very similar damage to Nathan Harper. I'm not sure where that came from. There was no data that came through saying that Daniel had an accident of any sort, whether it was on a pace lap or some checkup or something here and there. But there's his nightmare teammate Chase Mastretta in the number 8 down there on the bottom. We'll see if they have some sort of communication going on, because as far as I know, those two are the only ones, and Vicente Guerrero, those three are the only Nightmare cars in this race. And that, I mean, we know how Nightmare is, not to show bias, I'm not trying to do that, but they're always a threat to win. And you know they've got to be communicating somehow through this. And also, I mean, someone else to talk about, look at Matt Lee in the 04. He used to be on Nightmare, now he drives for NVG with Baker and Michael Triscaro and Jeff Murray. And he's a Lone Ranger out here, and he can do it all by himself, too. Look where he is. He's now the lead pusher to J.R. Miller. He's doing a fantastic job so far. But Logan York, so far, has been dominating this one. Him and Vicente Guerrero have been here the entire time. How about J.R. Miller, too? JR took a little bit of a hiatus from Money Racing. We'll have to check that because here come pit stops. Here, a little bit of contact between Miller and Chris McCullough. Kyler Wynn very hot, and he's gonna spin it out and save it. That might hurt him. He might be okay. He should be okay. I mean, he's still here in the pack and everything. Other than what just happened with Kyler Wynn, we're so far clean. Coming into the boxes, here's Logan York, J.R. Miller, Vicente Guerrero, Nathan Harper, John Ward, Sean Corbett, Chris Melton in the back. Everyone in for their pit stops. Let's take it back to the other pack right now, which is Matt Lee, Daniel Falkingham, Ron Hunter, Hunter Hastings, Brian Hennings, Mark Vondell, Danny Barnes, and Heath Joe. Those are the 8 cars that stayed out. We'll see if they got enough of a push, which right now it looks like they don't. They need to be very tight together, making as much pace as possible. They come in this time by. So that shows we're going to have like a 2 or 3 stop race here. Probably a 2. Look at Ron Hunter. He's barely going to make it in pits. That looked like he might have been speeding on that one, but he made it into the pits. And this group is going to have a flawless entry. They'll get in and out of the boxes and hopefully be able to keep up with this main pack. Back to that pack, Vicente Guerrero and Logan York have kind of broken away from the rest of the field. But J.R. Miller is still going to come back to him with a push from John Ward and Nathan Harper and Joshua McCullough. And there's Kyler Wynn, who did lose a good bit of track position right there, but he's getting a push from Kenny McCullough, which you wouldn't really expect to see that, Josh. We know how much let me rephrase that. Kenny's feelings on Kyler Wynn sometimes, but he's pushing him to the front right here.
You know, I heard a little story the other day that Kenneth McCullough and Kyler Wynn used to actually be teammates back in the day. And Kenneth McCullough actually likes Kyler, which is interesting to me. He just doesn't like him sometimes. So he told, there's a wreck right there.
And that will be our first yellow flag on the night. That is Steve Sizemore. Josh Giambrone rushing to throw the yellow flag. Hey. It looks like it was just Steve Sizemore that spun in this one, but he's got a good bit of rear end damage to that number 8 machine for R&R. We'll go ahead and take a very quick look at this and see what happens. So, hey, we had 20 laps green, and, you know, just everyone merging back together is, you know, that can cause issues, and it looked like it did here. Let's take it up to a chopper cam and see what we can see from this. So these are all the cars that just pitted merging back onto the racetrack. But that is not where this stems from. This stems from Mike Davenport, 6th in line, getting into the back of Steve Sizemore, turning him down into Sean Corbett and Matt Lee. So Matt Lee, let's see if we can find him real quick. It looks like he's going to hopefully save this. Brian Hennings with some contact in 74 as well. Matt Lee and Sean Corbett save it. Great job by Matt to avoid hitting the inside wall. He might barely scrape it, actually. He's going to barely get by without hitting it. Great job by them. So this was a relatively small crash we just had, Josh.
Sorry, give me 1 second. Sorry.
Yep. He's got more important duties to tend to right now, being the race control and everything. But yeah, as we saw, Steve Sizemore just getting kind of hooked right there by Mike Davenport. It's kind of a strange look. It didn't look like there was a massive checkup.
No, it didn't, but it looks like he just ran through him. I mean, Steve Sizemore just checked up just a little bit, cracked the throttle, it looked like, and Davenport didn't let off.
Yeah, that is the look from the race control, which I'm assuming Mike Davenport will receive the EOL for that incident right there. But yeah, just a lot of unnecessary contact right there. But I mean, Steve Sizemore did keep it going straight too. He was kind of saved by Sean Corbett knocking him down. But that's a lot of damage on Steve Sizemore. He might be able to get this fixed without having to waste his fast repair this early on in the race. But yeah, a strange look right here that we just had. I'm not really sure what was going on right there. Just contact from the 55 to the 8. A couple more cars get a little bit, but overall we're all good. Let's see if we can get a quick onboard shot. Let's take it to Matt Lee. To see how close he saw himself to the wall. Right here. So this is Matt Lee. Just gets sideswiped out of nowhere. A little bit of contact that we just heard to the inside wall. But that's nothing. He's not going to have any damage from that. Now, he's probably going to have a little bit of right front damage. In fact, we'll see if we can get a look at it as he comes around into the tri-oval. See if we can find maybe a better view of this somewhere. Oh, it looks like he's actually going to be relatively okay. But, I mean, it was a pretty light hit he took, in all honesty. So, even with the damage, you see the 04 is a little scraped up right there from that lead. But he should be able to just fix that damage. Shouldn't take more than a minute. He'll be back out here racing. We'll take it back live and check on the leaders. The leader of the race is now Danny Barnes and Heath Job. How about that for Hyper Motorsports? Out here, Michael Wingo, Jimmy Emos, they all stayed out under this yellow flag. They thought that happened too quickly in the pit cycle. Why waste their fuel, you know? But I think it could be advantageous to have as much fuel as possible. You obviously need that. But this is an interesting strategy call by the likes of Danny Barnes and Heath and Michael Wingo and Jimmy Emos to stay out right here. We'll see if they would come back in this time, which I highly doubt they will, because you have to pit the first time that the pit lane is open. And if you don't, then you can't come in and pit again. You can come in and pit again, but it'll penalize you with a drive-through penalty. And none of these guys want that, as we see. They are all just staying back out. Good on them to not accept that penalty. That proves that this was intentional. It wasn't a mistake by them to stay out on the track. So, yeah, what a call by these two right here. Barnes and Job taking the one to go this time by. So a little bit of a different cast of characters at the front of this thing now, Josh.
All right, here we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, it's basically a full field shakeup here, you know. It's all the guys that were in the front are kind of in the back. I think they all took tires there because these cars do get a little loose here and there. But it's going to be interesting now because you got the guys in the back that are going to want to be up back in the front and see if they can't shuffle these guys out. Maybe we'll see some more four wide.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And what you were saying about the tires and everything, like we saw, it's not a hot track temp, but tire wear is still a thing. Usually, if you want to take tires, you take 2 at a time. If you have like a fuel load like we have here, you don't really have the time to take all 4. So what you'll do is you take lefts to tighten the car up, rights would loosen the car up. The problem is rights take longer than lefts to put on. So it's an interesting little thing involving how much fuel, how many gallons of fuel you're adding into your car for the decision of do you want to take rights or do you want to take lefts. 99% of the time, if you pit, you take lefts. Rights usually aren't a factor. They don't wear as much. The lefts are what people need, especially in this Xfinity car, because the Xfinity car has a tendency, especially on a hot racetrack, to get loose. Like Josh was saying, it'll get loose, it'll snap on you sideways, just like the likes of a few months ago when we had PGR races and RMR races where the track temp was like 150 and you saw people just wheeling it to try and keep their car on the road in a straight manner. But like we said, cool track temp, like sure, there's still going to be some. They're going to need to get tires here and there, and some of them just decided to take it right here. Anyway, Danny Barnes and Heath Job are leading the race. Very cool for them. Right now, we'll see what kind of plans they have in place. Those two are not teammates in this series, but they are Hyper Motorsports teammates. So we'll see what their kind of plan is right here. Heath's laying way off of Danny, and now he's going to pull it back in. We're back green flag racing here. Danny Barnes with a big jump on the rest of the field. Heath Job's going to switch lanes before the start-finish line. That's usually not allowed. Maybe it is in the MMS series. But he's going to get behind his teammate Danny Barnes right here going into 1. And it's a lot of single file right now. Jimmy Emos is the leader on the outside line. How about that? Vicente Guerrero's going to hop up. He's going to trust Jimmy to give him the push, but Jimmy's riding way high up on the racetrack. Enough to where Vince doesn't even have a look at it. But now J.R. Miller's going to split him out. Kyler Wynn's going to hop behind Jimmy Emos. And is Nathan Harper, who you saw maybe got a little bit of his damage fixed right there, but not all of it, as you can still clearly see it on his right rear quarter panel. Back to 3 wide racing we are. J.R. Miller, John Ward, Matt Lee leading that top line. Vicente Guerrero, Jimmy Emos, Kyler Wynn in the middle, and it's still Barnes, Job, and Wingo, the top 3 on the bottom with a little bit of a breakaway. Kyler Wynn wanted no part of it. He went back down to the bottom of the track behind Chase Mastretta. That third's trying to get somewhere, but it's going to be kind of hard for them to individually, or not individually, as a group, get up there because of the gap that there is to the bottom. Like, the bottom's like 4 cars clear right now back to Logan York. And they're just not interested in going up. Logan York's going to contact Michael Wingo. Right there, a little bit of a checkup. A stack-up happened right there, and that is going to help the outside, too. Wingo way up the racetrack into the Centennial. And Jimmy Emos all over the place in the middle of the track. Wow, he's trying to hang on to it, doing everything he can to, and he's doing a good job. Still sitting there, second in line, lead pusher to Vicente Guerrero. Now third line riding really high. They might have seen what just happened to Emos. But now Danny Barnes, this is where the Hyper team wants to control this race. Now they have one of each of their cars controlling the bottom 2 lanes, the main 2 lanes. And that's really going to help out that second lane's effort right here, Josh.
Yeah, you know, that second lane's looking a little wishy-washy here, man. That 98 car is kind of everywhere. It's going to be interesting to see with these netcode and these cars if there's going to be a big one here in a second.
Yeah, Kyler Wynn and Logan York, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. It looks like Logan York and Kyler Wynn just backed out of the pack. They did not like what they were seeing, and they backed completely out of this pack.
Yeah.
And that's...
I think they're scared of what's about to happen. I can feel it. There's something coming. And
there it is. Jimmy Emos hooked in front of the field. Big one. Matt Lee.
There
Dalton
it is.
Steele. John Ward. Sean Corbett is
one.
upside down. Back on all fours. Josh McCullough, the big wreck. Big one, number 1.
Big
Caution
wreck.
number 2 of the first race of this season. Well, I mean, we saw it coming.
Oh, yeah.
We definitely saw it
I'm pretty sure
coming.
at least 4 cars blew up there. There was a lot.
Yeah, but there is a fast repair, granted, but when you blow up your car, you have to tow it back, and that costs you time. You're probably going to go 1, 2, maybe even 3 laps down. But wow, let's go ahead and take a look at this one.
Cool.
Lots of guys involved in this one. How about Logan York and Kyler Wynn backing out at the perfect time? They saw the writing on the wall, and sure enough, it happened. This looked like it originated around Jimmy Emos, so we'll take a look at him in the number 98 car. He's already in the process of getting hooked right here. Okay. There's no contact from anybody. He just drives up into the left side door of J.R. Miller, loses it, bounces off of Heath Job on the bottom. That's going to send Heath all the way up. He's going to get slightly hooked again. Wow, John Ward and Matt Lee just nowhere to go. Matt Lee gets up in it. Oh, Sean Corbett. No way. Sean Corbett at the left side of your screen. I shouldn't be laughing, I know, but that is so unfortunate. Because it looked like he was just coming out of the pits. And this crash happened and he just got collected by the field. Right here. But we got to go back and take a look at Sean Corbett. He's just riding along right here, coming out of pit road. The wreck begins and he just gets completely annihilated by Steve Sizemore in the 8. I mean, if that doesn't tell you how bad some guys' luck are in here, especially how Sean Corbett, another guy that's just had such tough luck recently, how it's been going. I mean, that is just textbook right there. He's going to get back going, but that car is killed. That is definitely going to be a fast repair if he still has it for Sean Corbett. That car is crab walking out of here. Look at it. It's just completely all out of alignment. We'll go ahead and get a few more looks at this real quick, maybe from the starter cam. His initial wreck getting over the wall right there, and then the whole field. Corbett on his side. Luckily back on all fours. There's Dalton Steele involved. Yeah, wow, that was a lot bigger than I initially thought. There was just so many cars taken out in this one, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, they looked like they were almost still wrecking under yellow, but I think they saved it here. I mean, that was a big one. That was a night ender for some people. Some people are going to be, I think there's, let's see, oh, no, there's still, nobody had to tow, I guess. It looks like one person had to tow. But other than that, I mean, it should be a pretty stacked up field for the rest of the race, hopefully.
Yeah, that's good. And, I mean, like we said, it's going to cost a lot of guys their fast repair, but at least they are still in the race. I want to get an onboard shot really quickly. Let's just look at let's take a look at Steve Sizemore, who was doing everything he could to avoid the crash, and then all of a sudden Sean Corbett just appeared in his lap. So this is Steve Sizemore. The wreck happens. He's going low, and then just nowhere to go. Mistretta in the 8 missed him, which was good. It looks like Sizemore was probably the one that lost his engine right here. Yeah, he's trying to work it, but that was a lost cause right there. So, wow, lots going on in that one. But good on Logan York and Kyler Wynn for backing out of it when they saw what was happening. They saw it coming, and they made the right move getting out of that one. Michael Wingo's taking the lead of the race. It looks like he stayed out again. Danny Barnes might have pit right here, presumably. Looks like everyone else in the field didn't. Maybe a few guys stayed out. Guerrero, Harper, Ward, Melton, and Mistretta, the top 6. Back to Barnes in 7th. Falkingham's made his way in the top 10 in 8th. Mike Davenport in 9th, and Brian Hennings in 10th. I want to see if we can grab a quick interview real quick. We'll see if we can find someone to interview. You know what? Let's bring up Logan York. I want to talk to Logan York, see what was going through his head and all that mess that was going on. Logan York, Landon and Josh in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you. What's up, man?
Well, you completely backed out of it along with Kyler Wynn when you saw what was going on in front of you. Walk us through what you were seeing and how pleased you are that you weren't involved in what just happened.
Yeah, I don't have any courage, so I saw them wobbling around, and I decided just to drop to the back. I was kind of scared of Jimmy there. No offense. Love you, Jimmy, but I was scared of you. And, yeah, they wrecked right after we went to the back.
Well, it was a very beneficial move for you and him. Now you find yourselves right next to each other to restart this one. What are your thoughts for the rest of this race? What's your strategy, I guess? Don't reveal everything to us, of course, but what are you thinking towards the end?
And my plan is to make it to the end of the race and win.
A very simple plan from Logan York right there. Obviously, don't want to give it too much right there. Logan York will be restarting in 17th position right here. Thanks for talking to us.
Appreciate it. Love being outside the top 15.
Logan York is always a trip to talk to when it comes to money racing. You always want to get an interview with that guy. He is something for sure. But yeah.
What a guy.
Yeah, what a guy.
What a guy.
We will be restarting the race on lap 31. Michael Wingo in the lead, as we mentioned, and Vicente Guerrero going to be leading the lines. We'll see what kind of start Wingo can get on the bottom as the lane he selected. He's going to be getting a push from John Ward right here. Into the box they go. We'll see what he chooses to do. He's going to wait
Landon,
till the green flag.
I don't know if you said this or not, but apparently Corbett used his fast repair before he got in that wreck. So he is done for tonight.
Wow. That's awful news about Sean Corbett's race. That's just unfortunate. You hate to see it, especially getting taken out like that, just coming out of the pits, and then, bam, out of nowhere. Well, unfortunately, Sean Corbett's night will be done. That's not going to be good for him in the point standings for sure. But here's Vicente Guerrero and Nathan Harper now controlling the lanes at the lead of the field. A little bit of 3 wide action with Scott McLean and Kyler Wynn and Logan York looking like he's going to hop up, and he's going to. Talk about that lack of courage he said he had. I don't see that right now because he's up there fighting for the 3rd line, probably going to try and take someone 4 wide. Scott McLean backs out of it. Now it's going to be York and Kyler. Oh, York goes with Scott. That is his teammate after all. He's going to pick him back up. He maybe just didn't want the push from Kyler Wynn in the 82 right there in the 3rd, Josh.
Yeah, this 3rd line's forming. If they can get all them cars bunched up on that outside, they can get to rolling. But teammates are going to start getting together here soon, and they're going to start filing in and trying to cycle people out, and getting them up front.
Well, we see John Ward in 92. He just backed out as well, so hopefully that's not a sign that in the trial we're going to wreck again. But he just backed out on the backstretch. He didn't like what he was seeing. He wanted to go to the back. He wanted to go with Matt Lee in the 04. Kyler Wynn's been pushed to the lead. Chase Mistretta is going to be the lead pusher on the bottom. How about Chase finding his way up into this field? He started way in the back, and here he is. But up here in P2. Now, Scott McLean and Mark Vondell leading the 3rd line, but they are so far off of that bottom line from side drafting. They really need to get on the doors of that 2nd line if they really want to go anywhere. They have Melton, Christopher McCullough, and the 31 car, who would be Hunter Hastings, in tow, but they backed out of it. They didn't want to look at it either. 3 wide starting to come back. Some guys want to be up there, some don't. They They go up there for a little bit. They decide they don't. Oh, Logan York making a move to the top in front of Scott McLean. How about that? Now Logan York finding his way once again to the front of this thing.
With his teammate as well. That is his teammate. And they do not like each other, by the way. Just so y'all know.
Yeah, they're not the biggest fans of each other. That is certainly true. But when it comes to this, I think they can put all that behind them and realize they are a team. They have a similar initiative of succeeding in this. And I will speak from experience that in this last series of the Little Dog, Big Dog series, I was teammates with Logan York. We also had Mark Math on the team. That was when it was 3 cars and not the 2. But Logan York was one of the best teammates that anyone could have. I mean, at least, maybe it was just me. I don't know. But me and him work beautifully together. Anyone he works with, when he takes it serious, as we see Mastretta getting a little up into Guerrero right there in the front, they're going to sort that out. But as I was saying, Logan York is someone, he will direct someone. He will tell someone what to do, how to do it, when to do it. And that's what he's apparently doing with Scott McLean right now, because Scott's having a great run. And it's those two up top. I'm sure Logan's nonstop giving him, I mean, lack of a better term, orders. And look at what they're doing. They're leading the third, and they're making a charge at the top of this thing. So shout out to Logan and Scott McLean. Right now, Brian Hennings gets Vicente a little bit loose right there. Now Kyler Wynn's going to hop up in front of Vince and leave Chase Mastretta the leader of the bottom. Mike Davenport now going to be pushing Chase Mastretta after the early incident that Davenport had with Steve Sizemore. He's found his way back into the top 5. Looks like they're coming up on a lapped car right here. We heard it in view. Let's take a look and see if we can find who that is. That might be Josh McCullough, and it is. Josh McCullough got a very good run early on, has lost the draft of this race, and he's going to get lapped right here in a very good spot, about the widest spot of this racetrack to try over, so people should have no issue getting by him. We already tried 4 wide earlier. Now Josh is 4 wide again, but definitely not in the position he wants to be in, getting lapped. He shouldn't have any issue pitching back on to the rest of this pack right here. John Ward, it looks like, is going to pick him up and make sure he stays in this pack. You see Ron Hunter in the 30 right there, that yellow and red and blue, black, very colorful number 30 with some damage still on his car. That's definitely not helping his cause. And there's Daniel Falkingham. He decided, him and J.R. Miller decided to hop up to the third. Doing everything they can to side draft right now. Now Daniel Falkingham, someone who definitely doesn't need directions told to him. He knows what to do no matter what the car is, but I know Dan is not a big fan. Oh, contact, Vicente Guerrero. Big and we're wrecking. Jeremy Osborne, Scott McLean. Big impact. Osborne into the catch fence. Kenny McCullough. Jimmy Emos, John Ward, Joey Galati. Josh McCullough involved after he just got lapped. Jimmy Emos is going to have to tow his car. There he is in the pits. Looks like David Sheets got a little bit of this as well, potentially, or was already damaged. Trying to work his way around this one. So this one, we saw Osborne was the first one to get hooked, but he was definitely not the origination of this one. This started up front with something involving Vicente Guerrero. We're going to go and take a look. So this is when, this is moment of caution.
From my view here, it's looking like the 74 of Hennings is going to hit his right rear and send him left into the 55 there. But they saved it there, so that wasn't the problem. But
yeah, so that's definitely like the root of what happened right here. Yeah, Brian just hooks Vince's right rear, sends him into Davenport, as Josh was alluding to, but they sort it out. They're all fine. Then we have to back it up to Jeremy Osborne. In the checkup, Mark Vondel's on the brakes, and then other people just aren't checking up for this. Is just what, plain and simple, what happened right here. Osborne gets hooked by McLean. Gonna get big hit on his side. Sending a lot of cars up into the air tonight. There's James Wagner, who's going to get T-boned by Josh McCullough. Ron Hunter involved. John Ward going to get a look at this. Kenny McCullough getting hooked in the back. Joey Galati airborne. T-boning Scott McLean as well. Couple names, pretty big names involved in this one, like Ward and McCullough right here. They're kind of taken out right here, but I mean, it looks like Ward doesn't have a lot of damage whatsoever. Kenny's got a little bit of damage on his bumper, but they should be able to get it sorted out just fine. gonna get a couple more angles of this in real time. We'll see Jeremy Osborne. That impact into the wall. And then, wow, what is going on right there with Galati and Emos? Looks like Emos might have blinked out, potentially rear-ended Galati maybe into Kenny McCullough. We'll get a look at that real quick. We'll have to back this up. This is Joey Galati. We saw he's kind of riding in the back right here. Rex starts up in front. He's on the brake pedal. Oh, Kenny was getting wrecked. Oh, okay, so Jimmy Emos hit Kenny McCullough and Joey Galati separately. Not checking up for the accident. And then he had to tow his car, as we see right there. So, yeah, pretty substantial one right here in the back. Something that really shouldn't have been as big as it was. But Josh, what are your thoughts like further on? More looking at it, what are you going to say the cause of the caution is? Looks like he's probably still trying to explain it right now to the drivers in the field, but yeah, see everyone in the front gets away from it fine. Unfortunately, it's just the people in the back that what happens up front always heads back to them. There's not much they can really do about it. You see Jeremy Osborne back on track, that bright green number 41. Obviously took a fast repair right there, so he's back into the race. Lots of these guys are, so is James Wagner, David Sheets, Vondell, Hunter, Ward. There he is coming back out of the pits this time. Fixing some of his damage. As much as he could right there. But up front, it's all Kyler Wynn and Mike Davenport. Top two. Actually, well, it's not, because Chase Mastretta blinked out. Someone else that has a lot of issues with that sometimes. Chase Mastretta is P2, followed by Davenport, then Falkingham in 4th, Harper 5th, Henning 6th, Vicente Guerrero 7th, Dalton Steele 8th, Logan York 9th, and J.R. Miller rounds out the top 10. We'll see if we can go ahead and grab another quick interview with somebody. We'll see who we can find in here. Let's get a talk with Kenny McCullough real quick. He was involved in that one. Looks like he was trying to check up as much as he could, still found a way to get involved. We're going to talk to Kenny McCullough. Kenny McCullough, Landon and Josh in the booth. Do you have a copy?
I got you, brother.
So you've been kind of hanging out in the back for most of this, as you normally tend to do. You're very patient when it comes to your racing style and everything, but you got involved in that one right there, and we couldn't really get a good look at what truly got you involved in it. Do you have any perspective on what happened right there?
Yeah, it looked like I got arca braked by Emos. Looked like he didn't stop, just ran me slap over.
A very honest take from Kenny McCullough right there, and you hate to see that, but did you take your fast repair right there, or are you still just trying to fix as much as you can, trying to save that thing?
I only got like a minute 20 out of it, so I think I'll be good. Yeah, I'm going to hang on to that. I think I might need it at the end.
Yeah, we probably will. Well, what are your thoughts for the rest of the race? We just passed the halfway mark. Do you think it's just going to amp up and you're going to try and be more patient with everything, or are you going to try and be aggressive right here and make your way to the front?
I'm probably just going to ride a little bit. I think they're going to calm down a little bit. I think we'll get some green flag laps in here for a little bit anyways. Racing's been good watching it from the back here, besides these cautions.
Well, yes, sir. That's Kenny McCullough. Thanks for talking to us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, buddy.
Kenny McCullough will take this restart in 26th position, so he's got a lot of work to do in this one. We've got to take it back up front. Kyler Wynn rolling into the restart zone with Chase Mastretta. Taking it into the box now. Kyler with a big jump on Mastretta. He might have a look at clearing up the racetrack right here. He's going to stay where he is and leave the Nightmare combo with Mastretta and Falkingham. This is just a recipe for disaster when you see Nightmare versus Kyler, because you know something's about to calm down, or not calm down. Dan Falkingham went down to somehow use the word calm. But yeah, anytime those two teams get together, it's something. It's always a show on the track. Not so much fun to be involved in a lot of the time, but it's always something to watch. Mastretta giving it to Kyler Wynn right now. almost getting him spun out and sideways. Mistretta way up the racetrack right there. That's not going to help their cause. Oh, he's still trying to hook Kyler. He's still hooking him. Mistretta is not letting up on Kyler Wynn. Now Davenport gets hooked by Harper. Falkingham in the middle, and there goes Kyler Wynn. Down in front of Harper. The yellow flag's going to come out. Even though they're... Oh, Kyler's still trying to wheel it. He's coming back up the racetrack. Wow. Well, I mean, I called it. Anytime Nightmare and Kyler get together, something's going to happen, and it sure enough did. And I'm not sure if it was a netcode deal or what, but Kyler Wynn's making his way back through the field. Right here, he's got to have a little bit of right rear damage, nothing that's going to affect his race. He should very easily get it fixed. We'll take a look at Nathan Harper, who's also involved. Still with that rear damage, he's going to have a little bit more on that right side now. But yeah, a lot going on right there because the number 8 car right there, Chase Mistretta, all kind of centered around that right there. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look. So this really started all the way back in turn 3. That's where the initial hooking kind of started happening. So Mistretta is giving a great push to Kyler Wynn, but then he just kind of gets maybe a little tunnel vision. He's going to go up into the 3rd lane. He's going to swing it back down in front of Brian Hennings. And do that just okay, but he's still not lifting at this point. As you see, he's offset hitting Kyler. Going to send Kyler down the racetrack. Kyler saves it, but then he saves it across Chase's bumper, so he's still having to save it. And they sort that out for the moment. Harper spins Davenport down the track, and then Falkingham goes middle, and Kyler, it looked like, just didn't realize it and came down in front of it. Wow. So, sure enough, something happened. And the beneficiary of it is Chase Mistretta, who is now the leader of the race. But this looks like it'd probably be a tough call for Josh Giambrone here. Because this is
it's a rough one, dude. Because Kyler does, from what I'm seeing, Kyler does not move from his line. Kyler does not move. Daniel Falkingham is the only one that moves in this situation.
Okay, yeah, you're right. That we saw that happen between Falkingham. Yeah, I mean, it is Falkingham kind of moving up and just kind of coming together right there. But there was a lot going on, you know, that was just kind of leading to it. There was both lines, the leaders and lead pushers of both lines were like getting hooked. And then Falkingham does go middle, and then it just looks like they just come together. Let's go ahead and go on board with Daniel Falkingham and see what he saw when all this was going down in front of him. I have to back it up a little bit right here. So yeah, the Harper and Davenport have their little thing going on in front. He sees an opportunity middle and then kind of just gets into the 82 right there and spins him out. We're going to have to take this a little bit more forward because apparently there was something else that just happened with Daniel Falkingham under the yellow flag, saying that he crashed. Now, this could just be iRacing data.
He just stopped on the track for the EOL.
Gotcha. So the EOL has been assessed to Daniel Falkingham as fault for the cause of that accident. Looks like we have had some pit stops happen. Danny Barnes is the leader of the race. He stayed out again along with Michael Wingo and Ron Hunter. Mike Davenport in 4th. Chase Mistretta 5th. Vicente Guerrero 6th. Brian Hennings 7th. Logan York 8th. Dalton Steele in 9th. J.R. Miller still in the top 10. I am 99% sure I just heard an engine blow. Is there any way that we can find what happened? It was in front of the pack heading into turn 1. Something just happened. I have no clue what just happened. It sounded like someone just blew a motor. Maybe not. I might just be hearing things. If I am, I apologize. But if any of y'all out there heard it too, I mean, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all heard something. That's crazy. I'm trying to get a look at it, but it looks like nothing
I'm not seeing anything
Yeah.
from my view here.
Nobody's coming up on the data either. Well, I mean, wow, okay.
Might
So
have just been a sound bug.
probably could have been. We know how buggy iRacing can be sometimes. Wouldn't be surprising at all if that was the case, but lots of guys getting damage fixed. As we can see, filing back in. Gonna have to be single file for this one. Well, Josh, come on. What are you expecting for the rest of this? I mean, we've had 4 cautions. We started pretty clean, and we've had a rash of cautions since then. Are we gonna start going green, or is this gonna keep happening?
You know, since that EOL was on Dan, we know he's coming to the front either way. That's just the driver he is. But now you have a lot of guys that have used their fast repairs. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to slow down, take some time, because we still got at least 30 laps to go. And I mean, people are going to be trying to make it to that finish. I mean, you can't win or cash and not make it to the finish. So you got some people that are going to slow down, just ride a little bit, maybe ride in the back for a while, and then make a move towards the end. So hopefully we will see some more green there.
Yeah, that is definitely the hope. Barnes and Wingo, the 2 leaders of the lines on this restart, will be heading into the zone this time. They will be taking 32 laps to go. Just past the halfway mark, which was lap 37 to come into 38. So we still got a long way to go in this one. Barnes, Wingo, Hunter, Davenport, Mistretta is the top 5. Barnes way ahead of Wingo. Wingo is just not on him at all. Danny Barnes is so clear of everybody right now. That outside line getting parked. Ron Hunter's clear too. Yeah, massive checkup. We saw that right there. Maybe a little bit of a gear issue. Logan York with some damage right there on the O2 we see. Just a side note, Mike Davenport gets down. Doesn't want to push Michael Wingo in the 01 anymore. Now Vicente Guerrero and Logan York are the Lone Rangers up there on the outside line. There is nobody else anywhere near them. But now Mistretta and Hennings are going to hop up and try and lead this line. Mistretta wants to take the lead away from Danny Barnes heading into 3, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, Chase has been up front pretty much all race here. Let's just see. I mean, he usually sits up front, but we'll see if he can stay up there. Usually he rides up there for a while and something happens, you know. And it'll be interesting to see if he can actually stay up there this time and maybe pull out the win here.
It's definitely within his ability to do that. He is a very good driver, but he gets a lot of flack sometimes. He is very, what's the word? Talkative. I don't even know the word. Passionate. That's the word we'll use on the radio sometimes. A lot of people don't like him for it. But when he locks in and he gets in a race car, he's going to be a threat. And him and Brian Hennings behind him too. Brian is kind of an ally to Nightmare Esports. They always, not always, I shouldn't say that. He is a PGR, Team PGR member. But there are times where Brian, you know, we kind of just help each other on the race. That's what happens. And that could be, oh, Ron Hunter's going to get hooked and they're going to save it. Good save by the field. We're 4 wide in the back around Waring and Lee. Maybe Davenport as well. They sort that out very quickly. Now Michael Wingo's going to hook Chase Mistretta right when we talk about him, and the entire field is getting torn apart. Everybody. Literally the entire field. Kenny McCullough's flipping. And Chase Mistretta, I mean, just no fault of his own once again. Just completely taken out. Vicente Guerrero had to tow. Kenny McCullough had to tow. I mean, yeah, Chase Mistretta just had to tow as well. Wow, okay. I mean, just literally the entire field just got flown apart right there, and it looked like it involved Michael Wingo in the 01
See what
car.
happened here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it just flew apart so quick it was hard to keep up with.
Apparently these racers don't like the tri-oval tonight. That's where everything's been happening.
Yeah, no, they are not a fan of that. There's something's going on in that tri-oval that is either they don't like or it don't like them back. But take a look at it. Wingo is just going to come down. He's just following Brian Hennings. Looks like Danny Barnes is kind of riding a little high there, and it's going to hook Chase Mistretta, which is in turn going to hook Brian Hennings. Mistretta with a square hit against that wall. Vicente Guerrero nowhere to go. Hunter Hastings, James Waring. Lots of netcode going on with Hennings and Wingo right there. There's Mistretta still spinning in the back. Vicente Guerrero with a destroyed race car in the 14. And this wreck just, I mean, continued. Look at Kenny McCullough. I mean, he's just on his roof Look at him. He's just doing handstands on the racetrack. We got to take a look at what happened to Kenny right here. What a crazy accident for Kenny McCullough, the guy that said he was trying to ride in the back and not be involved in anything. At least we do know he still had his fast repair. That he is definitely using it right here. Let's see what happened to Kenny McCullough, who's on the third lane right here. The wreck starts in front, and he's going to get, just pinched between his teammate Vondell and Chase Mastretta. Is going to launch him airborne. What a wild ride for Kenny McCullough in the 03. We need to get an onboard shot of that real quick, because that had to be absolutely insane. Here's Kenny McCullough, what he saw through this one. Just lifted, and the engine gets killed right there. Wow. What a ride for Kenny McCullough as the pace car flies by him. Crazy accident right here, and we just keep having the big one happen, Josh.
Yeah, it's been happening in the tri-oval. That's 2 big ones in the tri-oval. And that's twice it's come from the second car in the middle line there. Maybe that's a bad spot to be. Maybe nobody wants to be there no more.
Yeah, it's definitely not a good one. Here's Dalton Steele. Look at Kenny in the background. Steele does a good job getting through it. So does Osborne, Job, Harper, a few guys. Falkingham as well having to get through this. But you definitely just hate to see it for guys like Chase Mastretta, who, as we see, he's back on the racetrack, it looks like.
Actually, he just disconnected there.
Never mind.
His night is over.
He was back on the racetrack and then disconnected. So that will be the end of the night for Chase Mastretta unless he comes back for some reason. But what were your thoughts on that yellow flag right there? What do you think was the cause of that one?
That one is going to be on Wingo there. It's almost like he got loose. He like drifted up and turned too sharp down and got loose and just went too low. And it kind of domino affected there, and he got into Chase and the car under him, and it just wrecked the entire field. I mean, once you get loose in a trial, but you can't do anything, it's pretty much over.
Yeah, that is definitely true. It's a very awkward spot for the car. It's kind of flat, and it kind of loses the rear end a little bit. It wants to slide out from under you. Just an awkward spot, like we said. Well, let's just keep interviewing people, I suppose. Let's try and talk to Daniel Falkingham. I know Dan. I know he has some thoughts on what's been going on so far. Let's see what he has to say. Daniel Falkingham, Landon in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
So you've already dealt with some adversity in this race. You've been EOL'd for an accident involving Kyler Wynn, and we literally called it out. Anytime Nightmare and Kyler get together, something's going to happen, and it did. But you're back here. You're only in P11. You found your way back to top 10. You missed that wreck. So walk us through your race so far, just what you've been seeing and how your strategy's been to work your way through the field.
Yeah, just trying to avoid all the mess when I can, and that incident with Kyler, I don't really feel like it was my fault, but I haven't really got a good look at the replay yet. I had one quick look at it, but that's about it. But I don't really feel like I could have done anything different. I was just trying to avoid Nathan. Everyone's stacking up, and I was trying to hold, just pinch as close as I could. And I felt like I got chopped off, but I'm not sure. I'll have to get a better look at the replay after this race. But thankfully, even though we got that EOL, put us to the back, which I think helped us miss that last wreck. So we're still up here. We still have our fast pair in case we need it, and we're still in a good spot right now. So and I think we're just past halfway. So there's plenty of time left. We still got a pit stop to get through, but so far we're trying to stay clean the best we can.
I do have a question for you. How's the tire wear out there right now? Because I mean, we keep seeing guys getting loose in the tri-oval. Now, we know the tri-oval is a very flat place and that happens naturally, but is tire wear an issue? I mean, the track's cool. It doesn't seem like it would be, but how are the tires feeling out there?
Tire wear is non-existent. Pretty much the only way we're getting loose is if people are just taking bumps the wrong way, if I had to guess, but I really haven't been up here to see like how loose we can really get. But tire wear, it's a non-factor, so we shouldn't have to worry about that near the end of the race.
Well, yes, sir. There is that question from earlier in the broadcast answer. Well, thanks for talking to us, Dan.
Thanks, Landon.
Daniel Falkingham probably going to have some words with Josh Giambrone after this one. Sounds like he's not a fan of the call that was made against him. But
hey, we can talk about it after. You know, there's sometimes that calls are hard to make, but we can talk about it after the race. And you never know. I could have just saved him from that wreck. It might be a blessing in disguise.
I mean, it sounds like he did. He was appreciative of it. But anyway, we're back green right here, and Matt Lee is trying to split Ron Hunter immediately, and he's might turn him. Oh, I thought we were about to have another wreck right there. Ron, thankfully, getting out of the way. Oh, he still might get hooked. He's contact Danny Barges. There we go again. We're wrecking. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my.
I mean,
And
there's
there goes
Daniel Falkingham involved.
Oh, my.
Oh, no. Wow, I mean, we just need to stop talking to people, stop talking about people, because the announcer's jinx is real tonight. Dan with
Apparently.
a lot of damage on his car. That could very well be a fast repair. He might be able to get it all fixed. There's Sean Corbin, who's back in the race. Somehow, it's still trooping on in this one. But, I mean, we didn't even do a lap that time, and we're wrecking again. Now, I'm pretty sure I already know what caused this one, but we're going to go ahead and take a look and verify what happened. Going to back it up and take it up top. So Ron Hunter got split by Matt Lee off the rip, and there was almost contact there. Daniel Falkingham is shoving through Danny, not really shoving through him. They're going to hit right here, but Ron Hunter just there. I guess maybe he doesn't know he's 3 wide or just isn't giving enough room for when the 3 wide happens. Dalton Steele's going to get a little damage to the 41. It looks like he's going to be okay. And then all of R&R, I mean, look, Steele, Wagner, Melton with a big hit to the outside wall. Wagner T-boning Danny Barnes in the 7. It's like, here's Jimmy Emos back in the race. He's missing it. Jeremy Osborne might get a little bit of contact. Heath Job's going to net code through right there. There's Brian Hennings drifting it through this one. He's might have got a little damage from J.R. Miller, but he did a good job making it through. See what JR did. He's still trying to work his way through just the minefield that happened.
Brian, you said you wanted me to look at you? You got ran over?
Well, there you go. Some live RC from Josh Giambrone. Somehow that leaked through into the broadcast. You trying to talk to him. But it's all good. That we like that. We've had that happen with Baker a lot of times, too, when that kind of deal has happened.
Yeah, it's going to look like Ron Hunter just didn't give him room. He hesitated to drop there and just didn't give him room. And then we got another incident in the back with ARCA braking. Like always, that's just how it is.
Oh yeah, there's always going to be ARCA braking. And I've been told that maybe, as broadcasters we should kind of explain these things. It's kind of hard when you're turned into, you're a driver turned broadcaster. You think people just naturally know things. So ARCA braking, for anyone that's not familiar, we'll go ahead and get just a few more angles of this real quick from the back. But yeah, ARCA braking is essentially just not checking up for a wreck in a manner that it should be done in. Like everyone kind of knows, if there's a wreck, slow down. But the question is, well, how much do you slow down? You can't. It's a very fine line and a balance to try and figure out what you're supposed to, what the braking distance should be. It's kind of hard to explain because it's just kind of something we know in these things. But yeah, basically it's just not checking up for time, and that's something that's really getting cracked down on money racing. So the past couple months they're really trying to eliminate that and discourage it, because at the end of the day it is something that is extremely unnecessary and should be eliminated. But of course there's times where there's not a lot people can do, and that's understandable as well. But you have times where it could be called one way or the other, and of course whoever the RC is, RCs see things differently. The race controls do. Josh can see things differently than any other race control we have. How Kenny McCullough, when he does race control, he'll view something different. It's a very subjective sport, and a stewarding process is very subjective. And there's times I assume the ARCA braking was about J.R. Miller right there. It looks like he
slowed down.
It was not egregious by any means.
No, it was not. Not enough for an EOL. He was downshifting. He was off the throttle, and he locked up the brakes. There's not much more you can do there.
100%, and that's good on JR for doing that. And like we said, there's times it can't be avoided, and it's kind of hard to find that line. Well, back at the front, James Waring in the 13 and Vicente Guerrero, it looks like they're going to be waiver rounds. They're going to try and get their laps back right here, and they will. Kyler Wynn is the leader with Chris McCullough in second, Nathan Harper third, Matt Lee fourth, David Sheets fifth. Michael Winko's found his way back to the top 10. He's in sixth, Dalton Steele seventh, Brian Hennings in eighth, Heath Job in ninth, Christopher Melton rounds out the top 10. Well, let's see if we can go ahead and grab another quick interview real quick. Let's talk to Brian Hennings. We were just talking about him. Let's see if we can pull him up in here real quick. Brian Hennings, Landon, and Josh in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Oh, what's going on, gentlemen?
Well, I hate to do this to you now that it's too late because I've already pulled you up. Every time we've talked to somebody, they were immediately involved in a crash after. So I really hope that's not the case with you.
So,
well, okay.
yeah.
You're right. Maybe it's got used up by now, and hopefully it has. But you've been doing a good job so far. You and Chase Mastretta were doing some work right there, kind of controlling the lines, going all right there. What are your thoughts so far on how this race has gone for you?
Kind of sad. I mean, 6 cautions. I think the yellows come out just once too many times. Hello, York, from the broadcast booth. Yeah, I don't know, man. Just trying to roll the punches and, you know, try to get back up there. I got up there to the front, and then, you know, Chase got turned into me and tried to save it, and didn't happen. And then, yeah, here we are.
But you're not in a bad spot right now. You found your way back in the top 10, showing you in 10th place right now, which is a very good spot to be in. But it is kind of middle of the road, which is usually a dangerous spot to be in. But if you can find some work, maybe get up to the 3rd, get with Logan York, someone who's known to be a good pusher, you can have some good luck right here. We're about to go back green. I'm not going to take your time any longer. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, guys.
So that is Brian Hennings taking the field, the restart, I should say, from 10th position. And let's just say a prayer for him, because hopefully he's not going to be involved in any crashes right here. We definitely hope that's going to be not going to be the case, that he gets involved in anything. Kyler Wynn, Chris McCullough lead him into the box. Kyler Wynn's going to wait really late and wait for the green flag to come out when he launches. That's going to give Chris McCullough a good bit of time. He's going to be right on his door heading into 1. Might have a little nose on him right there going into 1 too, but the help isn't there for Chris on the outside. Matt Lee's trying to get there, but at the end of the day, it's just the 2 of them. And Michael Wingo, there's 2 car links back to him and Matt Lee. That bottom lane really organized. Logan York's going to hop up to that 2nd lane. Now Nathan Harper's going to ditch Kyler Wynn to the outside. Brian Hennings goes to the 3rd, but just doesn't hit home out there. Nobody wants to go with him, at least at this point in time. And hey, maybe that's for the best. Maybe something's going to happen up here, and he's just going to back out of it, similar to the situation with Daniel Falkingham earlier. There's Kyler Wynn and Nathan Harper leading both of the lines, as Hennings is going to file back in line right there. It's kind of single file out back. Ooh, maybe a little bit of a run from the R&R boys. Dalton Steele and Christopher Melton and Brian Hennings up there. They're trying to make something happen. On that outside right there, you see John Ward wants to hop the middle. That number 92 Piper Motorsports machine. But here comes the 3rd lane again, led by Dalton Steele. And I'm sure Logan York would probably hop up in front of it if he gets the chance. And there it is. As we say it, he's going to hop up. And Steele looks like he's kind of rejecting it for the moment, but now he's going to get to him and push Logan York, who now wants to go back to the lead of this thing. And all that earlier he was saying about his lack of courage, well, he's just making all these moves trying to get back up. Logan York definitely is not someone that lacks courage. I think anyone involved in this, anyone that watches money racing knows he's pretty confident when it comes to a race car. He knows what he can do, and he's always going to be a threat right now. But there's only 4 of them up there. Mark Vondell's tagged on to the back of it, but it might need something else. Oh, there's Daniel Falkingham is going to go to the bottom lane as Hennings now hops up. Steele looking to the outside. Kyler Wynn going to clear in front of Nathan Harper. Coming out of 2. They might have calmed down a little bit, Josh. It's getting a little bit calmer. I say that. Looks like there's a little contact in the back, but everyone's looking a little more stable right now. Maybe they're tired of the cautions. They just want to get some green flag running into.
Yeah, you know, I'm thinking the same thing. You know, maybe the next person we want to talk to is the 49, Christopher Melton. He's been up front in the top 15, top 10 all race, and I'm pretty sure he still has his fast repair and has no damage. I think he would be an interesting one to talk to next.
I mean, he would be, and that's good. That's what you want if you're Chris Melton. I mean, he's been up here in the lead pack, not so much leading. He was earlier in the race. He kind of fell back, and he's trying to work his way back up there. But like you said, he still has that fast repair bank on should he get involved in anything. That 3rd lane we saw completely die out. Logan York hopped back into the middle. Oh, wow. Some contact right there. David Sheets and Heath Joe get knocked out of line. There it is. Danny Barnes, Heath Joe The Hyper teammates are going to get spun. There's only one car, and that engine expired on Heath Job. A big hit for Heath Job. We heard it. We'll have to take a look at that under the next yellow flag. Because up front, they're still racing. Chris McCullough's taking the lead over Nathan Harper. Kyler Wynn found his way up to the second lane behind Matt Lee. Matt's going to push Chris clear, and he's going to trust Kyler to try and get him clear. Wingo tails them in third on the top. I'm not sure what just happened right there, but there was some contact, looked like, between... I mean, there was just stack-ups happening. It might have been Falkingham coming down into Barnes, and then Barnes into Joe. Let's get a look at Danny Barnes, see if he's still at least in the pack. Danny Barnes is in pit road. He's got bad enough damage. He's going to take it to the pits and try and fix his car up that way. But back up front, Chris McCullough still leading. J.R. Miller kind of hung out on the third lane up here. Nathan Harper hops up in front of Matthew Lee. He didn't want to push Chris McCullough anymore. He wants to try and lead it. How about that duo? Nathan Harper and Jeremy Osborne. Jeremy Osborne's in P7 right now. He's been involved in some wrecks. He's found his way up here into a very good position. Now Logan York getting Chris McCullough all sorts of sideways on the bottom. Just back to 2x2. Maybe that was what they needed. A wreck that didn't bring a caution out. And by the MMS rulebook, that wreck was not large enough to throw a caution flag for. It's supposed to be 3 or more that are involved, and there was not 3 or more current, like, actively spinning out and crashing. There was only one, unfortunately. Team Chris McCullough's going to get pushed, not clear, but with a nose in front of Nathan Harper. Logan York doing a great job shoving through Chris McCullough down there. Chris McCullough is someone, if I can, speak honestly, I think he is very underrated. I know I've said this about Brian Hennings and Light Series broadcasts before, but Chris McCullough is someone that's always there when he does race. Like, he took a hiatus for a little bit. He's back, and he always finds his way to the front and does a great job when he's up front. He's won quite a few RMR races. I know he won the Ron Morris race this past season. And here he is again, finding himself at the lead of this thing. And if anyone's surprised by that, they shouldn't be. Because that 94 car is always a threat when it comes to super speedway racing. But right now, his threat is the 22 and the 04 on the outside. Harper's going to get cleared down to the bottom by Matt Lee. Going to leave Lee and Kyler Wynn together. But they just don't have a lot of help out back. Look how tight Matt Lee is on the door of Chris McCullough. He knows he has to side draft as hard as possible. Oh, J.R. Miller is going to get hooked and save it.
2 cars pitting, it looks like.
Yeah, that's Waring and Guerrero. They were wave-arounds. They were fuel tanks. They were off strategy right there. Hold on, let's take a look at J.R. Miller. If we can find it, here he is. We got to back that up because it looked like he saved that thing. I promise I won't stay on this too long. I know we're still green flag. But there was some contact between him and Galati moving up. Look at Miller, how sideways he is. He's gonna slap the wall a little bit, but it doesn't look too extreme. So he should be able to just continue. There he is.
I don't know. I think he's got some wheel damage after that. He hit that thing pretty hard.
He probably does, but right now he's in the back, drafting with James Wagner in the back. They have lost the pack, but his race is not over. There's still 16 laps to go, and up front it's Matt Lee and Kyler Wynn now leading both of the lanes, followed by the PBG teammates of Harper and York pushing on the bottom. Chris McCullough's been filed all the way back to third on the bottom. That outside is rolling. Wynn drops to the bottom. York now leads the middle with the push from Dalton Steele and the R&R boys, including Steele and Chris Melton, who we were just talking about. He's back in the top 10 with a good run, but now he has Daniel Falkingham behind him. He's found his way back to the top 10. We called it. We knew it was going to happen. But here he is. We'll see what he's able to do, because his teammate is Mark Vondell, and Mark, there is a car between them right now. But there's also someone like John Ward behind, who is someone that's very solid when it comes to any race car. He's just sitting in the back right now. That's someone we haven't really seen up front so far. It's interesting. John Ward, yeah, he's going to find his way there at some point unless he gets taken out in a crash. But he's just hanging back behind Mark Vondell right now. Everyone's just kind of all over the place, zigzagging right now for the trial. Kyler Wynn still leading the bottom, and Logan York trying to get that push from Dalton Steele that he needs, but Dalton Steele is hot. You can see that. He's peeking out that right side so he can get some air to his water. The radiator, the water temperature is the thing that kind of rises quicker than the oil temperature in these. So he's trying to peek that right side out to get that air to it, to cool it down. But he's kind of doing it on the straightaways too, and it's really not something you want to be doing. You want to be doing it in the corners and then shoving on the straightaways. That's where the most speed is found. And that's kind of hurting Logan York right now on that outside. Matt Lee is just sticking behind Kyler Wynn. Maybe waiting for his opportunity to jump in front of York, but he's not going to have it because York is there. In that 0-2, getting that run back. Dalton still shoving York. Arrow pushing him right now, as we can see. Up to the passenger side door of Kyler Wynn, but their run just died out again. And what we're waiting for right now, we know a third lane is going to come, but when is it going to come and how well is it going to operate? Because there's a lot of cars still in this pack. I mean, look at Kenny McCullough back there. He was barrel rolling earlier, getting squished between Chase Mastretta and Mark Vondell. There's Mark Vondell on the third, Josh McCullough and John Ward. Here comes the McCullough brigade. Ward isn't technically a part of McCullough Motorsports, but he always works with them whenever he has the opportunity. Josh McCullough has found his way. He is back on the lead lap of the race. And we saw the work he was doing with Kyler Wynn earlier in the event, and he is trying to get Mark Vondell up there, and that is the best thing that Daniel Falkingham can see right now, because that is his teammate in this series, and right now it is Vondi all the way at the top getting that push from Josh McCullough, trying to work it. Look at Logan York side drafting Kyler Wynn on the bottom. Still trying to just hang in there. Oh, Vondell getting loose with a push from Josh up top. John Ward trying to give that arrow to him, but he's going to back out, it looks like. John Ward just backs out and files back into the middle. That definitely hurts Vondell and McCullough's shots at this one. They're kind of hanging tough up there. They're doing a pretty good job, just the two of them. I mean, we saw this earlier. How about Mark Vondell leading the third line right now? Found his way. He's at P4 right now, coming to 11 laps to go. Getting that shove from his MMS teammate, Josh McCullough. Here comes John Ward back to the aid. Mark Vondell's got to look at leading this thing. He might lead this next lap. Look at Mark Vondell going that Chiefs 59. He's trying so hard. Look at the side draft he's laying on. Josh is getting hot, though. That's the thing. He's getting really hot. Look at these damaged cars right here. Jimmy Emos, Ron Hunter, they thankfully go to the bottom of the apron. Stay out of the leader's way. Emos kind of coming back up the track, but he's going to stay under yellow. That's good.
Almost Kevin LePaged him.
It looked like we were about to have that case on our hands, but sadly, the third lane has now died out. Vondell finds a spot in line. Josh McCullough's getting sent to the back. He's getting sent all the way to the back. Behind John Ward, behind Joey Galati. He's at the very back of this pack. Brian Hennings is also, what happened to him when he went third, nobody went with him. He is just kind of trapped where he is right there in the 74, all the way in the back. Kind of like 7th in line on the bottom. He's got to try and find a way up or something. Needs some luck to go his way. Kyler Wynn is still the leader, and Logan York is still leading the second lane.
It does look like we lost Kenneth there to a pit stop.
Oh, okay, so Kenny McCullough, sure enough, he has lost the draft and is 40 seconds behind the field. So he did have to pit just off strategy again with the fuel. We expect another pit stop, though, I would assume. Because if we were tight on fuel from the last caution, I mean, they are not saving right now by any means. York still trying to keep that second lane alive. It's just not really working out for him. Kyler is up there controlling it in front of York. York does not like that. Logan York, that is the last thing he, of all people, wants to see in front of him. Because he wants to be the guy that controls the lanes. He wants to be the guy that controls the people behind him. And that's what we see, the fight right now between two of those personalities, Wynn and York, in the 82 and the 02. Going at it right here. It's going to be up to who gives the best push towards the end of it. But I would be careful if I was Logan York. He has Dalton Steele and Christopher Melton behind him. Those are two teammates. Real teammates. Not teammates in this series per se, but it's something to watch out for. Then what would Daniel Falkingham do? He now has Mark Vondell behind him, his teammate in this series. Logan York finally gets clear at Kyler Wynn, and he yanked it down there to take that away from Kyler Wynn. 8 laps to go. This time by. That leaves Steele and Melton leading that line. We see Steele still has a little bit of damage on his bumper. I am kind of shocked the third lane hasn't tried to redevelop right now, Josh, because, I mean, it looks like maybe Davenport wants to go. He's kind of peeking it out to John Ward, hey, let's go somewhere. But it's just not happening right now.
You know, it looks like, from what I am seeing, it looks like all the pushers that would go 3 with them is stacked on the inside. I mean, they're 5, 6 deep on that inside. That's everybody that would go to that third lane. So it's going to be hard for like Vondell to find people to go with here. And I mean, the pack is pretty thin from what we started. So he's going to just have to make it work, but he can try to split them. You know, it's a possibility, but I don't think he's going to be able to go up 3 wide with anybody. I think he's kind of stuck. Maybe Ward will go with him, but that's only 2 and you need at least 3.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we saw 2 early in the race, but as far back as they are, they really do need that third car to try and make something happen. John Ward's way off of the back bumper of Michael Wingo. He might be trying to develop something with Mike Davenport right here, but Davenport is not on his bumper. Ward will have a run, but I doubt he takes it just because the 55 Davenport is not on his bumper in the back right there on that second line you can see. They're just not there. He's kind of backing all the way out. I'm wondering, I mean, this pit stop has to be coming up. If I remember right, like we went like 20 laps the first time. Look at Dalton Steele. It's only the 2 of them. Falkingham way off. Harper found his way to the bottom. Yep, we are going to be approaching pit stops right here. Who is going to bite first? Who wants to go to the bottom first? This time, By is getting called out in the chat. Logan York is pitting this time, and he will drag most likely the rest of the field with him. Maybe not some of the guys in the back that were saving. Yep, here we go. Vondell files in. Falkingham needs somewhere to get in. Vondell might try and leave him a spot, and he is. Vondell lets his teammate Falkingham down. So he finds a way, but the R&R boys are just kind of stuck up there. Here we go. This time, pit stops from the whole field. York. Not the whole field. York.
Oh.
Yeah, a few of them stay out, including Wynn and Lee. Oh, Vondell gets into Brian Hennings in the back.
It's only 1.
There's only 1. Yellow flag will not fly. 5 laps to go. We have pit stops. York, Harper, Falkingham, Sheets, Osborne, Steele, Hennings, Ward, Davenport, Melton. All coming into pit this time. Did John Ward miss his box? John Ward, oh no, he went down. He looked like he got confused with his box real quick. 3 cars stayed out. Kyler Wynn, Matt Lee, and then Josh McCullough, who has almost lost complete touch of these guys. Like, he is so far off of the back bumper of Matt Lee. He's gaining it back now. He's just going to have a great pit entry right here. We'll see what Josh can do. Here he is. We'll see Lee and Wynn come this time. Here comes Josh. Can he get that entry? Look at it. The time he's closing in. He's locking him up, trying to get it locked up, and he hopefully made pit road speed. It looks like he could have. But anyway, up front, Daniel Falkingham now leads. What a pit stop by Daniel Falkingham. Overtook everybody. York and Sheets in tow. Might just be the 3 of them. Now, there's Hennings, who had a good stop. Good for him. He had contact with Mark Vondell, too. And now it's kind of strung out right here. Falkingham, the leader of this line. Chris McCullough and Nathan Harper trying to go to the outside of Hennings. David Sheets hops up in front of Chris McCullough in the 94. That's going to box in Brian in the 74 on the bottom. Jeremy Osborne in the 41, that line green card, trying to get back up there with this pack. We'll see what happens right here. There's Vondell. He's going to go a lap down. But it looks like the combo right here, look at these guys. They are locked together, but they are going to get blown by the rest of this pack. There's the merge. Falkingham clears in front of Sheets. That's going to leave York and Hennings on the bottom, but now Falkingham wants to go back down. Just a kind of 6-car little pack right here. Steele and Davenport overtake Osborne in the back. Osborne wants to go up to that second lane, and he will, but Falkingham, what a tight clear right there in front of David Sheets. 3 laps to go this time by. The pack has been whittled down to about 10 cars. Ward is going to hop up. Looks like nobody's going to go with him. But watch out for Kyler Wynn and Matt Lee and Josh McCullough. They are in the draft. They are here. It's up to them if they want to take this run or not. And you know they're going to. It's Kyler Wynn. He's definitely going to take it. Logan York up front clears in front of Falkingham. And they get real squirrely. They figure it out. Harper up in front of Ward. That checks up Wynn and Lee, they did not decide to go to the 4th lane. There goes Sheets in front of Harper. And he's going to get him, almost going to spin him out right there. Almost right rearing Daniel Falkingham. Ward doesn't like it. He's going to go back to the bottom. That's going to leave Sheets and Harper hung out to dry. But here comes Osborne and Wynn. Who are now, look at those three. Now side by side, just in tandem. But they just have nowhere to go. It's just a minefield in front of them. 2 laps to go. Logan York and Daniel Falkingham leading the lines. And now David Sheets and Nathan Harper collect themselves and are getting that 3rd lane to finally go somewhere with the help from Jeremy Osborne in the back. Kyler Wynn as well. It's just like 5 on the bottom, 4 on the top, 4 on the top, the very top. Look at this. They're just perfect formation. Everyone's just in perfect rows and columns. But now Josh McCullough is kind of the X factor. He wants to go up. He doesn't know where he wants to go. He went bottom to middle to top, back to middle to the bottom. He's just kind of riding where he is. He needs a crash right here. And honestly, we'll probably get it. White flag this time by for Daniel Falkingham, Logan York, Brian Hennings, Chris McCullough, and David Sheets. That 3rd line is kind of dying out. Will Chris McCullough hop up in front of his teammate to try and revive that 3rd line and kill Logan York in that line? We'll see what he does. They're into turn 1 this time. It's still a very solid pack. Falkingham is pushed clear by Hennings. Will he take it in front of York? Hennings doors York. Falkingham getting spun sideways. He's not taking it. He's just still sitting on the bottom, trusting that Brian has the temperatures on the bottom pushing him. He's getting sideways, kind of getting up into Chris McCullough, and he's going to hook Chris. And there goes Harper behind him. They saved it.
They saved it.
Falkingham and York and David
They're still
Sheets are
going.
right there. They go. Kyler Wynn's going to hook Chris McCullough, and there goes everyone else. Hennings got hooked.
Still only 2.
Daniel Falkingham has no competition. There's no run out back. Maybe one by York, and he's not going to get it. Daniel Falkingham wins the first race of the Little Dog Big Dog season, followed by Logan York and Brian Hennings, who finishes P3. How about that? We didn't jinx him. He got a good finish out of this. But Daniel Falkingham wins the race. There was a lot that went on towards the end of that, and we need to go ahead and take a look at it. Let's just take it from the white flag and probably speed it up a little bit. Because when they entered turn 3, it just became crazy. So they take the white here, and they're still just kind of sitting where they are. The first person that got turned was Chris McCullough. We know that. Take it from the top view again. Henning's kind of riding up and is going to hook Chris McCullough. And Chris saves it, but at the same time, Ward and Harper get into it, and they save it. But then Kyler Wynn shoving it through the middle is going to get into Chris McCullough, turn him. Davenport skates away. Look at Josh McCullough on the bottom. They're going to get a big hit on the bottom. And then back up front, there was contact between John Ward and Dalton Steele, who comes up and just cleans Ward out right there. They save it too. Save it to the line at least. Look at John Ward wheeling that thing. But at the end of the day, Daniel Falkingham wins the race. Here he is doing his burnouts. Let's go ahead and go through the finishing results of this one. I'm very glad that green flag run, that was entertaining. That was awesome. We need to pull these results up real quick, see where everyone filed out in that one. Daniel Falkingham wins the race. Logan York, P2 tonight. Brian Hennings 3rd. David Sheets 4th. Mike Davenport in 5th. Dalton Steele will finish 6th. John Ward in 7th. Josh McCullough in 8th. Nathan Harper 9th. And Matt Lee will finish 10th. Jeremy Osborne, a good finish for him, in P11. James Waring in 12th. Vicente Guerrero in 13th. Joey Galati 14th. Kenny McCullough fought his way back to 15th. Michael Wingo in 16th. Christopher McCullough 17th. And Chris Melton finishes 18th. 19th tonight will be J.R. Miller, James Wagner in 20th, Kyler Wynn 21st, Mark Bondell 22nd, Jimmy Emos 23rd, Danny Barnes 24th, Ron Hunter 25th, Heath Job 26th, Sean Corbett in 27th, Hunter Hastings in 28th, Chase Mastretta in 29th, Scott McLean rounds out the top 30, Steve Sizemore finishes 31st, and Josh Giambrone was the race control. So we had 31 cars tonight. Unfortunately, Steve Sizemore rounds out the field in 31st position. So stick with us real quick. We're going to see if we can get our top 3 in here for interviews. We will be right back. Welcome back, everybody. We have found your top 3 finishers here tonight. We will go ahead and interview them. We're going to go ahead and start with Brian Hennings. We'll do it backwards tonight. Brian Hennings, Landon, and Josh in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yeah, but I don't know if I should be talking to you since, I might get EOL'd here with this little move there.
Well, the fact is, for now, you did finish in 3rd position. So as of now,
Until the EOL's handed out, yes.
Well, I can give you a little sneak peek real quick. I personally don't think one's coming. But
I know. I heard what you said.
It's
and I
from straight
appreciate
from
that.
race control. But
Right.
we're going to talk with Kenneth and see. I mean,
Yeah,
ultimately, it is Kenneth's decision here.
Right. It's all good. Yeah, I appreciate it.
But, I mean, hey, we talked to you earlier, and like we said, everyone we talked to ended up crashing. And you didn't. You came home at least 3rd for now that we know of. So talk us through how the rest of that race went. It went pretty clean towards the end of it.
Yeah, I was just trying to stay at the bottom. I mean, I knew another pit was coming. Lost my teammate. He got wrecked out. So I was just, trying to stay out of harm's way. Had to use the fast repair on the last one. So, yeah, I was just trying to stay at the bottom and just pay attention to when they were pitting and try to go with the biggest pack when they all pit. And here we are talking to you guys.
Well, yeah, it ended up being a really good one for you. And like we said, as of now, this is tentative. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, you came home in a solid position. And I think you obviously need to be proud of it. So go ahead and give out your thanks and your shout-outs.
Yeah, shout out all my VRX buddies and all the McCullough guys that put this league on. You for the broadcast, you do an awesome job. Giambrone on race control. That's about it for now. I just wait to see how this plays out. And hopefully we can get a win in one of these series since it's, winning you're in. Doesn't matter about anything else. So need to get a W at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that is Brian Hennings, your 3rd place finisher here tonight. Next up, we have Logan York, the always entertaining interview, and Josh Giambrone stands by with him.
Hey, Logan, you got a copy?
Yeah, what's up, Josh?
Hey, man. I mean, pretty good race for you tonight, I mean, no EOLs for you. Nothing. You rode up front almost all race. I mean, I only saw you back out of the pack once, and it was a great call on your part. How you feeling tonight?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I got a 4X that race, which is less than what I normally get. So, it's pretty clean.
That's
got
not bad.
It isn't. I got contact from a checkup, and that was it. Yeah, from what I could tell, it was really gridlocked, so track position was pretty important. So I tried to make my way up as far as I could, for like 5 or 6 laps before the pit stop, and then it just worked out. And then, unfortunately, at the end, my hope, Chris, he got wrecked. So that was my race over once they wrecked behind me. I had no help, but I think I definitely could have had a shot at it. But yeah, nothing more I could do there.
Yeah, I mean, well, great race from you and who's your teammate here? Is Scooter, correct?
Yeah, it is.
It's sad for him. It was a short race, but I mean, you sure ran your race here tonight.
Yeah, try to get us in there, but just one spot short. Maybe they'll EOL him, hopefully, for nothing. I don't know.
Maybe, probably not, but
Or not.
all right, have a good one.
Thank you.
That is Logan York, the P2 finisher here tonight. And now we will pull up the winner of the race, Daniel Falkingham. Daniel, Landon, and Josh in the booth. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, you ended up... Well, actually, let me start this with a story. So right after we interviewed you, you got wrecked not even a lap later. And we thought, okay, the jinx is real. But then you and Brian, when we talked to him too, y'all came up here, y'all finished 1st and 3rd. You found your way back here. No surprise here. You know what you're doing when it comes to this. So what was your thoughts after that crash where you came back and ended up winning this thing?
Yeah, my first thoughts were thank you for putting the commentator's curse on me, because literally, I just find it funny, how all that happened. But thankfully, we were carrying 15 seconds of nose damage for that entire last run of the race, because I tried my best to get it all fixed under that caution, but I literally left it till the very last second, and I barely just beat the pace car off pit road instead on the lead lap. But thankfully, it didn't really seem to hurt us at all, which I was very surprised by, because I thought it would really affect me pushing. But thankfully, I really was never in a spot where I had to push until it was me and Logan in the middle lane around 3 or 4 to go when we were trying to get back to the bottom lane. But yeah, so yeah, that wreck sucked. It sucked being in the back of the field for most of the race. But thankfully, like you said, we avoided a lot of the chaos. Most of it, what we needed to, and we got back up through there. But really got to give a big shout out to Mark, Vondell, who let me down, gave me a spot to get down in line so I could pit. And thankfully, that pit stop really won us the race because, like, we had a great entry, past, like, 4 or 5 guys, it felt like, and then we beat everyone off pit road, and we were able to control right to the end. So really got to give a big shout out to Mark. And me and him are on a team for this thing, and now I guess we're locked into the championship with me winning now. So that's huge. Very, very huge for us. So looking forward to that whenever that time comes around. But, feels we had a heck of a roller coaster. I'm glad we came out on top.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And like you just mentioned, that does lock you and Mark into the championship race. So now it's kind of just racing for fun and payouts for the rest of this thing. So congrats to y'all on that. We'll go ahead and give out all the rest of your thanks and your shout-outs.
Yeah, just got to thank McCullough, like Kenny and everyone who puts this stuff on. Shout out to Mark. Like you said, me and him are on a team. And like you said, I'm thankful for him for letting me get down in line so I could get down in pit. So without that, I probably would have not won the race. So really big shout out to him, and glad we get ourselves locked into the championship. Thanks to everyone who comes and races each and every week to show support and put this stuff on, make this stuff possible. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting. Thanks to everyone who watched. Shout out to everyone who watched my stream too. And that's about it.
Well, yes, sir. That is Daniel Falkingham, your winner here tonight. Along with Mark Vondell, I think we can say that as a team, they collectively won the race and are now automatically locked in to the championship event. They didn't have to work all season for it, so that is good for them. But yeah, what a wild finish we had here, Josh. I mean, it was a lot of fun early. It was clean, and then the wreck started, but then it's kind of cleaned up. The pit stop came through that weeded some people out, and then all of a sudden it was just wild towards the end.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, we interviewed all top 3 guys there. Those were our main 3 interviews. We interviewed Logan York first, Daniel, and Brian.
That's true. So maybe
and they
it's
all
good
finished
luck.
up top. Yeah, maybe it is good luck.
It could very well be.
Except for Chase.
Yeah, that one didn't really work. But yeah, usually in the light series races, when we interview someone, they immediately get destroyed a lap later, and that we did see that, but these guys managed to come back from it thanks to a fast repair and some good help from here on, from the back of the field, from their teammates, this and that. But yeah, I'm very happy with what I saw. That was a lot of fun coming towards the end of that last like 20 lap run, whatever it was, including the pit stop. And that always seems to weed people out. A green flag pit stop is kind of challenging sometimes, and you have to execute it perfectly if you want to have a shot at good track position and a shot to win the race. But all that considered, congrats to Daniel Falkingham for winning nice race, Logan York for second, Brian Hennings for third. Shout out to Josh Giambrone, who up to this point had never been in the booth before. He's still learning a little bit, but he had to do that and do all the race control tonight, and I don't want that job. I know I don't want that. So thanks to him for being a part of this as well. Thanks to Kenny McCullough for the series and the host. As always, thanks for all of y'all watching. Tune in next week where we will be racing at Daytona in the Truck Series. And then we have something pretty special the week after that. Something I don't think anyone's going to see coming out there in the audience. But it's going to be a wild 2 Sundays from now. And next week will be just as wild, I'm sure, in the trucks. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. And for the sake of me, Josh, everyone involved, PGR eSports, MMS, we hope y'all have a very, very good night.